We're talking about the role players. Is Josh Minot getting too good? Is Neemias Queta really as good as the numbers show? And who is fighting for that 9, 10, 11 spot? It's right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Beantown, be ever ready. It's the C's. Who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT, Karalis. We kept the madness every game, every practice. Prime time, Depp and D White on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising business, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Where does your team every day? Your team is the Boston Celtics, and I talk about them Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday this week, because there's a bonus podcast after the Friday night game in Orlando. Wherever you listen, however you listen, or if you want to watch a show on YouTube, it's free. It's available everywhere. Get into that comment section on YouTube if you want to share your thoughts with everydayers, people who are with me every Monday through Friday. There are a lot of you. Thank you so much. I'm John Karalis, beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I've been covering the team for 20 years. I've been doing this podcast for 10, and I've written a couple of books about the team as well. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. We're talking all about the role players. This season is about who can accentuate Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, who is coming back at some point, either this season or next. Who is going to be a part of this future run as the Celtics try to build a contender out of the ashes of a previous contender? Later on, we'll go to the end of the bench because there's a Jordan Walsh, Hugo Gonzalez, Baylor Scheierman kind of battle working. In the second segment, we'll get to Neemias Queta, who the numbers love him. Are those accurate? But we're going to start with Josh Minot, and we're going to start with Tom Westerholm. Hi, Tom.
Felt good. I appreciate that. I like it's very, very existential. The ashes of a former contender. It's a Phoenix Rising. This
just came to me in that moment. I didn't even plan to say that.
Some real Ozymandias going on. It's good
stuff. Josh Minot. I'm gonna have to look that one up. Josh Minot has been good, so good that I think Celtics fans are really excited about Josh. Let's just start with this. I was talking about this on yesterday's podcast. Obviously, Josh dropped a 21-point career high. You know, he's been a regular speaking to the media, and that means that he's been a regular as a contributor. He has he has career highs in points now, rebounds.
Yeah.
As I fight back a sneeze, 15 rebounds. He has tied a career high 3 assists. So he's going to have to work on that. Maybe against Orlando, he can get to like 5, 6, or 7 assists.
Yeah.
He's doing well. He's just doing well.
Just doing side quests.
Yeah. And there's so much untapped potential here. That's leading to one of our favorite people, Ryan Bernardoni, writing a piece. Now, Ryan, you probably don't know, because he just keeps a low profile, but he lurks in the shadows of Celtics media / social media. And every once in a while writes a piece on his Medium. And then you're like, oh man, he's one of the smartest people, when it comes to the cap, like ridiculous, like just a genius when it comes to that stuff, but also just a rabid Celtics fan. And he laid out this premise of Josh Minot's getting so good, like too good, that the salary, the contract that he has signed with Boston is almost going to work against the Celtics. He's going to get so good that they can't offer him enough, and another team's going to swoop in, and he's going to have to go take his money and all of that stuff. So let's just start here, Tom. Where are you on Josh Minot and his potential? Is he getting so good that he's going to price himself out of Boston eventually?
I don't think I certainly don't think it's a crazy premise, right? I think you look at all the stuff that Minot is doing right now at his age, 22-year-old guy, really young. You look at the profile, the physical tools, the stuff that he brings to the floor, it's all really, really valuable stuff. Like guys who are his height, his length, his athleticism, and who just play as hard as he does, those guys, when they can contribute, they get money, right? Like that was the whole concept behind drafting Jordan Walsh, is like, hopefully this guy can become what Josh Minot is. Like the fully realized, fully idealized Jordan Walsh is precisely what Josh Minot has been through the first 8 games of the season or whatever we're at here. It's that. I think I do not think that it's crazy to think in terms of Josh Minot pricing himself out eventually. There is a long way to go before that happens, and I think that's where we currently find ourselves. Right? It's like Josh Minot has been awesome, and I think if you just kind of took what's happened so far in the first part of the season and you just stretch that out the rest of the way. Yeah. I mean, if he's regularly scoring 20 points, if he's, grabbing 14 rebounds in a game, once every 6 or 7 games or whatever it is, at that point, it does start to look a little dicey in terms of him pricing himself out. Celtics have an option on his contract next year. So, worst case scenario, they at least would have another season with him. But I just think that I think that where we are now, it's a little early to be thinking in, I think, sort of catastrophic, like, well, it's another Luke Cornett situation. This guy's completely pricing himself out of Boston, kind of.
And we might get there. We might get there with him, but
really might. That can't be stressed enough. We really might.
But also, he's coming off of a 21-point game where he was 8 of 12. But that also followed a 2.6 rebound game against Utah where he was 1 of 5 and didn't look good, and nobody looked good. And also within that game for Josh, there was the late timeout that Joe called to berate him coming off the floor in a way that Josh and Joe can understand each other. And I think the one of the great things about Josh is that he appreciates that kind of coaching. And I'm sure, 100% sure behind the scenes after something like that, Joe is in Josh's face in the locker room, gassing him up and privately talking to him and literally telling him I love him. You know what I mean?
He does throw that around. Yes,
he does do that. Right. So I think there are a lot of ups and downs because he is 22. And the question is, how much progress is he going to make in a short amount of time? How will he look next to Jayson Tatum, which you can't imagine just the same, he's not going to be, it's not going to get worse next to Tatum. So, and what does Josh Minot want? Is he, I think the one thing that I'm going to keep leaning back on is the walk-off interview after the win against Cleveland, I think it was, where he's like, man, I love it here. This place has been great. It's a blessing, and on and on and on. If this is the place that kind of turns things around for him, maybe he'll find some level of loyalty and be like, look, I'm gonna stick around and we're gonna figure out a deal and we'll make it work. But I don't think we're there yet. I think we're at a place where Josh is contributing. He very clearly looks like he fits. It's going well, and maybe the Celtics will have to figure out some contractual stuff. But I don't know. You think teams around the league are just looking at Minot and being like, "Ooh, we gotta pluck that guy already"?
I think probably not yet. And I think, hey, you want to one nice thing for the Celtics is they're not going to make a deep playoff run. He's not going to be showcasing himself in the Eastern Conference Finals this year, I don't think. So, maybe you get a little
true.
Maybe you get a little bit of a deal there. I think it's less than I think teams are probably looking at poaching him at this point. And I think it's more, I think one of the big concerns is if you're Josh Minot, you got to make money, right? You're an athlete. This is your window to make money. And I think that there will be teams that probably look at his profile and look at his age. And if he keeps playing like this, I do think that there is a danger of him getting plucked for sure. But I think but again, I think we're far away from that right now. That's pretty far down the line. He's got a lot to prove before something like that could happen. Luke Cornett, right? It took him 2 years to really establish himself. Maybe that happens with Minot, but a lot can happen in 2 years.
And look, he is still only shooting 32% from three. Like he was 3 of 6. He was 3 of 6, but he, there were a couple of 0 for 2s in there. And he also has a DNP on the season. But
there's some Marcus Smart with his shot too, where it's like he shoots it and you're like, it might go in. You're not like, it's not Hauser where you're like, oh man, get that guy over.
Yes, buddy. I saw him shoot one. It went in, but I swear his shoulders vibrated. Like it doesn't make sense. Like they just kind of like, and he finds a way, and it's look, as long as it's square and level when he shoots it, and he has a foul, like then fine. But I think looking at his form, 32% kind of makes sense.
It does.
So there's enough here to say, oh, wow, he's playing really well. But there's also enough here for teams to be like, yeah, I mean, he's getting an opportunity here on a team in a transition year, but that's not a player that we're just going to be like, oh God, we got to go get him because he's like this gem. He is like you said, Jordan Walsh. There are a bunch of guys in the league with his kind of build and everything that can go out there and play some defense. What else is he doing? Is he shot creating? No, he's not a big assist guy. Is he, he's not knocking down a million shots. He's catching lobs. He's doing that stuff. And maybe a Denver Nuggets would be like, hey, this is the type of guy we want running up and down the floor with us. But what are they going to be able to offer that's going to be able to come in? That's the other side of this. We'll continue this because I kind of want to look at the other side of the second apron stuff that Ryan brought up, and we'll get to Neemias Queta when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by DoorDash. NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has found a perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching for the highlights, your fantasy team, or your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better, and they are the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA. They're celebrating this season with something called the bag drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, and that has already happened a few times, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. That's player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, stuff you actually want. And it's not just food. You can get anything delivered. Basically, anything that you can buy, it can be delivered. Headphones, if I need a new pair so I can hear Tom Westerholm better, I can get those delivered through DoorDash. DoorDash has you covered for late night highlights, late night watch parties, last minute watch parties, and double OT fuel ups. Next time someone goes off for 50, use the promo code NBA50. That's the next day. You get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass. Plus, you get your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only 50% off up to $10 the day after a 50-point game with the promo code NBA50. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 years or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA, Locked On NBA Game Night. Game Night is 7 days a week, has you covered every game in the association. One game going on tonight, so that'll be a fun, in-depth show. Locked On NBA in the afternoons covers all the big stories. They're both in the same feed. You can find them where you found this podcast. It's all free. It's everywhere. So just to wrap up the Josh Minot talk, because Ryan is talking about things that other teams can offer, and if someone comes up with these particular contracts with the big money, that's all well and good. But also, who is coming in? Who has the money to outbid the Celtics? And I think one thing working in Boston's favor is that teams have to be sure. They have to be sure. If you're going to drop even $10 million, you can't really miss. And the teams that want a Josh Minot are going to be the teams that are contenders, teams that are, I don't think a tanking team is going to look at Josh Minot and be like, we want this guy because he's a winner. And, you know, like, yeah, he can be a part of a winning team, but like you want him next to a fully formed, you have your star working with your star. He's playing off that star. He's only 22, so who knows what he's going to become. I just don't know that he's like, is he going to be on the Utah Jazz? I don't know. Maybe, but I don't think that that's where they're going to want to spend their money. You spend your money on the big players first. You want to develop those big players first, and then you go and find your Josh Minots. He's a great role player for a team that's trying to do something. And the Celtics are trying to do something next season. So they've got their guy. They've got a guy here that's doing that. The contenders are expensive teams. So they also have non-taxpayer mid-levels to offer. Are they going to come throw the whole thing at Josh Minot? Is a contender really going to throw an entire non-taxpayer mid-level at Josh Minot right now? Like right now, no. Who knows by the end of the season? But I think he would have to have this super incredible season for that to happen. So I think the concept is appropriate because it's like, whoa, he's good. And if he gets really, really good, there is actually a scenario where the Celtics have to like, oh my God, we might have to fight some people here to keep this guy.
A little bit. Yeah.
But also, I don't know that the landscape is such that the competition is going to be fierce for Minot, because at some point teams are going to be like, okay, you know, we'll offer him $5 million, or, you know, but we're not going to be going to, you know, $44 million over multiple. Like, it's not going to be, he's not that kind of player right now. So we'll see what he becomes. And I think that's the whole point of all of this, including Ryan's piece. But I don't have that fear just yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that's really working in the Celtics' favor is that this CBA isn't just brutal for the Celtics anymore. It is now brutal for everybody, and especially role players. So if you've got a good role player, hey, maybe it will be a little cheaper because role players are not doing particularly well on this CBA. So.
All right, so let's move on to the next guy, a guy who might get paid. Who knows? Neemias Queta coming in here. Let's get him like the max here. The way you had the numbers.
The numbers don't lie. Yeah.
Okay, you had the numbers. You read me some numbers before.
Yeah, I can grab these up again. So cleaning the glass lineups with Queta are 98th percentile league wide. With a point differential of 18.9 points, plus 18.9 points per 100 possessions. If you look at the on-off data that Cleaning the Glass has, which takes into account, it's a slightly different formula, but the Celtics are more than 30 points better with Queta on the floor than with him off. Most of that comes down to defense. They're like 26 points per 100 possessions better with Queta on the floor than with him off. So it's a lot. And I mean, obviously we're still in the part of the season where it's like, small sample size, it's early, yada, yada. Yeah. But it is, I mean, he's starting. It is 200 possessions. 200 possessions. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not nothing. So, it's not super representative, but it is also not nothing.
It is interesting because, I was having some conversations at the game. I was talking to a scout, and we're talking about like he's okay. He's like, I still think like he belongs in the NBA, right? He's an NBA player. But is he your starting center? Let's just assume the Celtics are championship contenders again. Yeah. All-Star break 2027. We're looking at, and the Celtics are at the top of the East. Let's just pretend.
Yeah.
Is your starting center Neemias Queta, or is it somebody? Because I don't think that. Now, I think Queta is a backup, and I think that's where the scout and I settled. Is that he's probably going to top out skill wise as a backup.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to throw cold water because I know I'm already accused of being a Queta hater.
Yeah.
But I do think that the numbers
a hater, a cater, something like
we could do it like like just a New England accent, the Queta hater.
The Queta hater. There it is.
Queta hater.
That's good.
But I think the numbers are indicative of how bad they are without him in the terms of like the drop off between him and Tillman, Boucher. Boucher's been benched. Garza, like the rebounding is awful and the putbacks are just brutal. And the second chance. So Queta is able to be big and grab rebounds and block some shots. He is the only legitimate shot blocker the Celtics have. And like
Derek White would like a word. Sir.
I know yes, Derek White. I was going to add him into that. But when I say legitimate shot blocker, like the guy you can plant in the paint and be a deterrent. Like Derek White is the best shot blocking guard out there. But you're not driving because you're afraid of Derek blocking your shot.
Right. That's why I get so many blocks.
Right. Because he's getting a lot of the chase downs and he's like, all that stuff. But anyway, Queta is the guy. He is a gigantic human. He is a big dude. And if he's there, you look at him, you're like, okay, I'm probably going to pass this out a little. Let's work the offense a little bit. Yeah. It doesn't mean you don't attack him defensively. But anyway, there is nobody behind him. So I think what we're seeing, like why the numbers are so stark, is that yes, Queta, when he's playing well, the Celtics are playing well. You're never going to have Neemias Queta playing well and the Celtics kind of stinking, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like if we're looking at Queta being like, wow, man, he's really good today. The Celtics are like off to like a 20-4 run, And so there's that element. And then when he comes off the floor, there's just no size. It all craters. They were using Minot at the center for stretches. Yes. So that I think enhances the numbers. Like there's like, oh, there's this good, but like, oh, this is bad. And so I'm not even sure why I'm even saying this anymore, but I think Queta is part of a championship team. I think he can be part of a championship team. I just don't think he can be your starting center. I still am not convinced that he can be your starting center on it. Like the Celtics aren't all set at center and they just need to find Queta's backup. They need to find the guy Queta is backing up.
Yeah, I mostly agree. I think that I agree with what you're saying in concept. I do think that like part of it depends on like what the rest of your roster looks like. I think if the rest of your roster looked like if you had a better backup, right? If it turned out that you didn't want to spend the money on a starting center, you wanted to spend the money elsewhere, shore up other areas, and you got like another guy who was like about as good as Queta, maybe good at something else, but like about as impactful, about as good as Queta. I'm not going to say that I don't think that there's like he's showing some real improvements this season, right? Like it's not just a numbers thing. Like he looks better this year. He
does look better. Absolutely.
He does look better. And if that continues and he continues to be better, and if the Celtics if they really improved other parts of their roster, I'm not like, maybe they could be a championship team again. If you have Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum and Derek White and you have like good pieces around them, could that team be a championship team with Queta as the starting center? I don't know. Maybe Queta could be like a poor man's Robert Williams and he stays a little healthier. Like maybe. But I think the larger point is I think in an ideal role, right? Like on an ideal roster, 100%. Queta should be a backup. There should be a better center on the roster. I think, it's interesting because we're constantly hearing Joe talk about like, Queta's got all this potential. Queta's got all this potential. And I think Joe really wants to see Queta become that guy who could be like a starting center on a championship team. I think he really he's trying to talk the Queta. He's really trying to make Queta happen. He's very committed to this, and he's getting on Queta constantly. Like, he really wants the Queta project to work, but at the risk of being a Queta hater as well, I think you're right. I think that in an ideal world for the Celtics, he is a solid backup. Definitely somebody who gets plenty of minutes, is in the rotation, but there's a better player in front of him.
We'll continue that, and we'll get into the last stretch of role players and what impact they might have when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. It's NBA season, NFL season, whatever you want. There's other stuff to bet on, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel. It's the official sports betting partner of the NBA. If you want, you can join the game in progress. You can ride the hot hand. FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. And you can combine your live bets into a same game parlay. It'll give you a chance at a bigger payout. Keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making a late push. Right now, if you're a new customer, FanDuel will give you $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. It's for new customers making their first $5 bet. You win it, you get $300 in bonus bets. So sign up at FanDuel.com to get started. When you do get started, they will ask you to set your limit, set your budget. Please use that tool. Whatever you can afford to lose, whatever your disposable income is, you can set that limit in case you hit a cold streak. FanDuel wants to help you gamble responsibly. Sign up at FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Today's show is also brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, you can get paid for being right. Don't miss any of the excitement this sports season, whether you're following the NFL, NBA, both. There's no better time to jump into the action. If you haven't tried it, Prize Picks is super simple. You pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get them right, you win. It takes like 60 seconds to make your lineup. You can do it anywhere Prize Picks operates, including California, Texas, and Georgia. So if you use Prize Picks, you can do it during football Sundays, NBA tip-offs. You can pick your favorite players like Drake May, Jaylen Brown, to see how your predictions play out. There's a new stacks feature. You pick more on Jaylen's points and rebounds and assists in the same lineup. Plus, if one of your players leaves early with an injury, the injury reboot saves your lineup from a loss. Download Prize Picks today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Josh Lloyd's got you covered. Anything you want fantasy basketball-wise. Who should you pick up? Who should be off your team? Who should be looking to trade for? He's got everything for you at Locked On Fantasy Basketball, the best fantasy basketball expert in the world. Find it where you found this podcast. All right, let's get back into Queta, who, look, I want to give him the full credit for what he's doing. I think that for now, for this season, the pressure is on him to be the guy. I still think there's a midseason trade to potentially happen. I think maybe Simons is still a target. Like, nothing has changed as far as my long-term outlook for this team.
Yeah.
So for now, for this season, if they're going to do well, Queta needs to just keep this consistent. And this is going to be the biggest thing for him. The consistency of every day coming in, keeping that mental edge, keeping that physical edge, working on the things that right now are weaknesses. Can you shore those up? I would love nothing more for Queta to be like, to look me in the eye in the locker room and be like, I'm proving you wrong. And whatever word he wants to call me, I don't care. I would welcome that if he's actually proving me wrong. And he can be the starting center. If he's the starting center next year with Tatum and Brown, then that means he has improved to a point where the Celtics feel like he can do that job, in which case, great. So,
yeah. But
for this season, for this Celtics success, he has to be good. And I'm curious to see how these numbers pan out.
Yeah, and I think this kind of leads into the next guys too. But I think with him, it just comes down to attention to detail. Like, if he pays attention to detail and just keeps that, just every, like, all the good stuff that he can do. And if he just keeps minimizing and mitigating his weaknesses, like if he keeps all that stuff front of mind, if he has that attention to detail, he can be a starting center in the NBA for sure. He's got all the tools. That's what Joe Mazzulla is getting at all the time when he talks about that. I think that's a big part of the reason why he gets on Queta and he talks up his potential all the time, is because, like you just gotta focus. I think for him, that's what it comes down to. Set good screens, like defend without fouling, all this stuff that, because if he does all that, I mean, the guy never misses. He never takes difficult shots. He's very efficient. And, I think it just comes down to attention to detail.
And that does bring us into the next group of guys, because Jordan Walsh, you talked about Jordan Walsh earlier. You got this group of Walsh, Hugo Gonzalez, Luka Garza, Baylor Scheierman, Chris Boucher.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Celtics, obviously, you go 8 deep with Simons, Hauser, and one other guy. There's like a 9th and a 10th in there somewhere. But in this game, it was Jordan Walsh getting 24 minutes. Before, it was Hugo Gonzalez getting, 25 minutes. Like in each game, Scheierman, we did the whole thing. Scheierman had a big game the other night, and everybody was like, "Oh wow, let's, Scheierman's back. He's stacking all of these." Like he had 2 games.
Donovan Mitchell pretty well again in the Cleveland game. Like yeah.
And then boom, 3-4 minutes against the Wizards. Why? Because each one of these guys is just good enough to show you a flash, but not good enough to do it consistently. And Queta is part of that. He's just breaking out of that a little bit. And so, like last season, Queta was definitely in that mix. One of these guys has to contribute every night for the Celtics to do well. I don't know who it's going to be every night, and this is going to be the hardest thing in the world. Because if you're Scheierman, you're like, okay, man, I went out there, I worked my butt off. I, defended here. I hit a few shots here. I had 3 games in a row. We're talking about stacking good performances.
I played in myself. I didn't take a bunch of dumb shots. I just played like good basketball.
Yeah. And then you have like a little bit of like, oh, maybe is this not the right matchup for Baylor? Okay, sit down.
Yeah.
None of these guys has enough behind them to be like, I earned 20 minutes. It's, you know what? Jordan came in and he's defending well, and we kind of need his length, and he's rebounding well. So he's doing the job. It's your job today. And then people lose their minds about Jordan Walsh. I go onto Celtics Reddit. I see an apology form for Jordan Walsh. And then
never apologize.
It's against Orlando. Very easily, Jordan can get 2 DNPs this weekend in Orlando.
For sure.
They're big, beefy dudes in Orlando, and that's not Jordan. And so he can get like 2 minutes, get bounced around, and never play again this weekend. So who knows? Like it could be a Scheierman weekend. It's just so nuts. I think part of why I'm bringing all of this up is like there's so much flux. These guys don't know how many minutes they're going to get. Who's Boucher getting DNPs? When's he going to get Tillman getting DNPs? And he's out with personal reasons. But like, I don't know, the 8 through whatever 11, 12, like those guys, it's just such it's a crapshoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you hear Joe yesterday like really praising, kind of admitting that when it comes to Walsh, right, and saying like, yeah, I mean, he does a great job of staying ready even when he doesn't know if he's going to play. All the nice coach speak about prepares the right way and all that stuff. But like, I kind of believe it about all of those guys who are in that mix. I don't doubt that Jordan Walsh is preparing the right way. I don't doubt, like, it seemed very clear when Baylor Scheierman came in that he had been coached and had taken that coaching and said, okay, fair enough. I'm going to, I'm not going to take a bunch of 35-foot threes and try to be a point forward. Like that's not my role here. Like I'm here to, play good defense, right? Like that's the thing that gets you on the floor. on a Joe Mazzulla team is if you can play good defense. And, and I think, Hugo Gonzalez, like that's a guy that's a guy who, honestly, if you're the Celtics, he's probably the guy for the future that you want to be playing a lot of these minutes, because that's a very young man who was showing some stuff right off the bat that he could be a contributor. I'm sure he's working hard too. But he's the highest potential of the bunch. I think so. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a lot of words to just kind of say. I'm with you. It's really hard. And these guys, I do envy their position. I was going to say I don't envy their position. They're NBA players, and they're all playing NBA basketball. I do envy their position, but they're in tricky situations as far as the NBA goes, for sure.
I'll wrap it up by saying this. If next season, where Jayson Tatum is fully back, and I'm assuming Jaylen Brown is fully back, and Derek White and, those guys. And if Josh Minot is playing a major role in the rotation, and Neemias Queta is playing a major role in the rotation, which I would consider a backup big as a major role in the rotation. For sure. And if Hugo Gonzalez is part of the rotation, even off the bench, 7th, 8th man, whatever. If those three guys are part of the rotation next year, then massive, massive win for Brad Stevens.
Great season.
Massive win. To come out of this season with three guys, that one off the scrap heap, one off of the out of the draft, and one internal player development, check. You get one of those three guys, all of them, for next season, when theoretically the Celtics want to contend. That's a huge win. So all of this is, building towards these guys becoming major parts, contributors to what we hope is another championship in Boston. So I think it's possible. That's what this season is about more than anything, is getting that to happen for the Celtics.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Tom.
All right, man.
Great show.
Yeah,
great show, Tom.
Good show. Good stuff, man. Appreciate it.
I wonder what the people think. That's an odd reaction. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's just laughing at us.
Or we were that funny? There it is.
Yeah.
What a relief.
Bye, Tom.
Later, man.
Oh, man. I do appreciate everybody listening, being here Monday through Friday. This week, Monday through Saturday, because the Celtics played the Orlando Magic on Friday night, and I will do a bonus podcast after that. Bonus podcast can be half an hour, could be 15 minutes, could be longer. It's up to me, up to the game to determine how long the podcast is. However long it is, it's free, and it'll be here for you after the game. So make sure you're subscribed, watch the show on YouTube, get into the comment section there, share your thoughts with me, share your thoughts with your fellow everydayers who are with me every day, Monday through Friday, and then share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.